Today, in the nerdy news you need to know about, the Switch 2 does use DLSS and ray tracing. There might be hope for Titanfall 3 yet, and the Switch 2 has a Piranha plant camera. And let me tell you, there's just so much gosh darn Switch 2 news to talk about, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Hispanic heartthrob Texas treat Latino heat, clicking heads and ripping them to shreds, the globe-trotting, headshot and rootin' tootin' three-point shooting nitro rifle from twitch.tv, celebrating 8 years at Kinda Funny today, Andy Cortez.
Unbelievable.
It's flown by.
God damn, dude.
Do you think about it? Has it actually flown by? Is that a long, what is that? What does 8 years mean to you?
Well, I think just adulthood flies by.
Very true.
I just,
very true.
Yeah, it's already April, and I feel like every time we approach New Year's, I'm like, I feel like New Year's just fucking happened.
Yeah.
Just adulthood, you know?
Yeah.
Thinking about packing up everything in my Honda Civic, driving across the country, calling my parents, being like, all right, I'm in New Mexico now.
Yeah.
And staying in a little hotel there. Like, okay, I'm stopping in Los Angeles. Like, what a weird, wild trip.
Yeah. I mean, we've lived together for like 7.5 years at this point, which is fucking insane to think about.
You guys hate each other.
I'm kind of waiting them out. You know,
I'm getting this rent controlled apartment.
Trying to see who blinks first. No, the
Barrett and Alyssa, and this is not happening. But Barrett and Alyssa are walking through like, man, your room would make a great nursery one day. Like, yeah, fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. Oh, this fucking boss, dude.
I'm sorry, Mike just fucked me over.
We love having Andy because with Lulu, like Lulu loves her Tio. Because he gives her a lot of chicken, so much chicken.
I didn't know that she also loved the corners of the banana Pop-Tarts that I've been eating.
The
bear
got
me
just
into.
about anything,
Yeah.
But not really. She could be a little bit picky.
She's kind of picky, yeah.
Is she? Okay.
But we always have, whenever, like on the weekends, and I mean like my morning Pop-Tart, we'll have a little Pop-Tart moment where we share a little Pop-Tart together.
I like that. I like that for you guys. That's
It's
cute.
wild, yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Well, congratulations,
Almost a
Andy.
decade.
I know, right? That's when you get your lunch.
Not nice. Nice.
As we've now set the standard with Kevin. You can take an afternoon off and we'll take you to lunch. That's what'll happen. But no, Andy, thank you so much for working at Kinda Funny all these 8 years.
Hey, thanks for hiring me.
No problem.
And chat, thanks for paying the company all of your support with Super Chats and Twitch Primes and Patreon and all that so that they can afford to pay me. So
exactly. Yeah, it's an ecosystem we have here. But yeah, Andy, it is crazy on the one hand to think about 8 years of you working here, but then on the other hand, I think I stop and I think about what it was like when you first got here and how far you've come and how much you've progressed. And I know, even employee reviews last year, specifically, I was telling you like how great you are on shows now. You know what I mean? And you were never bad, but like you've gone to a different level with your games criticism, the games you play. You obviously stream so much on your own, and you bring that I think expertise back, and it really works and helps. Make the colors of the rainbow here even brighter in terms of like, we're really filling in each other's gaps and the content you bring and how good you are on shows, and even you hosting stuff now, right? Like you go out and you host Games Dailies and Gamescast. You're fantastic.
Thank you, Greg. I feel like I've regressed a little bit,
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Because of Mike?
Yeah. Just really kind of puts me in a mood,
Yeah.
What was that?
Someone interrupting my thing? Is that what it feels like? Such a song, such a jam.
Probably cut it off right there just because we did get dinged. Copyright.
And the important thing for me, Andy, is I've told this story a million times. I think every Kinda Funny day, but like you getting hiring, you're the turning point for me. Like the eras of Kinda Funny, but you getting hired on that day where I walked through the old studio and I was like, yeah, so when's Andy get here? And Tim's like, oh, he's in the middle of Arizona right now. He's going to be here in 2 days. And I was like, oh, and it all set in of like, oh, he's driving across the country, tearing up his life for us, just like I did for IGN.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kevin's the first employee, but Kevin's still little brother, right? He's basically
he's from here.
He's basically a founder, you know what I mean? Where you were like, oh, this is like, we're a real thing and we need to not be idiots all the time.
Yeah.
But be idiots in the right way. You know how it is.
You'll notice like an uptick in the design of things.
Well, you were already making shirts, which is why it worked out so well for bringing you in.
No more impact font,
Okay, well, first off,
every now and then.
First off, fuck you, because I know you weren't, but I'm working on my my presentation for my show in Chicago, kindafunny.com/Chicago. Come see me a week from today. Insane. but I'm doing like a whole bunch of stuff and I'm using Impact.
Hell yeah.
That's just all I know. It's what I know how to use. If you didn't know, though, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about live on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, and podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, pick up that Kinda Funny membership. Of course, $10 a month gets you good karma for supporting an 11-person business. It allows us to pay people like Andy to work here. And of course, there he is. Look at him. Don't you want him to work here? It also gets you all of our shows ad-free. That's more than 20 a week, more than 80 a month. And of course, you get your daily dose of me, Greg Miller, in a series I do called Gregway, which is a video and a podcast you get to enjoy. That's 15 to 20 minutes each and every day, meaning you get an hour-long podcast every week, which comes out to 4 hours of podcasting with me every week. Next week, I'm in Chicago, getting ready for the show, kindafunny.com/Chicago. Please come see me. Tickets are still available. And of course, that means other people are doing Gregway. So if you don't like one-on-one podcasts with me, now you get a bunch of other people, which will be great for all of you. I think Mike's already somehow wrangled Chris Anka into it. I don't know if he's told Chris Anka that, but I digress. We'll talk about that later.
Not. There's never great communication from
any of us. Yeah. Yesterday when I was out here and it got revealed live to Gary that we weren't doing Mario Party anymore, I was like, yeah, never told you that after that. They changed that on me in a meeting. And as you know, in a meeting, if I have to tell people to Slack me things because I'm running the meeting, and I never did that for anybody. And that was on me. Let's talk about some housekeeping. Of course, we are an 11-person small business, all about live talk shows. But I don't want to talk about today just yet. Instead, I want to talk about a city that never sleeps, New York. As you know, I had stars in the bank. I was ready to cash them in and compete in a sanctioned, respectful game against him. He wasn't here yesterday. No one knew where he was. We just knew that he had fled the state. It turns out Tim, Blessing, and Roger went to New York City to play the Nintendo Switch 2, to play all the games, to try out mouse mode. Right now, there are 6 different videos up over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. They are all Gamescasts. They are all rolling out on the Gamescast podcast feed. Of course, we didn't want to ruin anything. I know Roger was editing at 10 o'clock time last night in New York. So these came in hot. Cool Greg is uploading them all to the Gamescast feed, so you can go see them momentarily. You can on Spotify. You can watch the video. You can listen on Apple. You can listen on Spotify. You can watch over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. But it looks like they're all around 30 minutes of coverage. I've gotten through their hands-on with the Switch 2. I've started in on them talking about the GameCube stuff. Great content from the charlatans.
Totally agreed. I had to put that playlist on 1.5 speed. I had to Uber drive over here because construction car blocked my car in.
Yeah.
But I am just based on what Blessing and Tim were describing about Mario Kart World. Holy shit.
I can't wait.
I was already stoked for this game.
Yeah.
And their excitement got me even more jazzed up about it. Because there's a lot of cool things that I don't think was necessarily evident on yesterday's trailer. There's a lot of stuff they pointed out that sounds even more cool and even more exciting.
I see. My Apple podcast is starting to ding right now. We played GameCube on Nintendo Switch 2 with the notification the podcasts are going live. However, if you are a podcast listener, that's all great. If you go to YouTube or Spotify and watch the video, you will see, as you just saw there, B-roll. There's a bunch of B-roll. Usually we go there, we play stuff, we come back and just yak about it. We did send Roger there so the videos would look better than usual. So there's a lot of B-roll. Roger stayed up late editing. Of course, shout out to Tim and Bless for killing it there. Shout out to everybody working on this cool rig right now. It takes a village right now. We're doing a bunch of really, really cool stuff. And somebody asked, it was Mellofellow actually asked in the live chat, did Roger get to play? He did. He has Yakuza impressions that I heard leak in through we played Switch 2. So lots of great content. And of course, Bear, what do you guys say?
Sorry, Mellofellow also put in the chat referencing, I think, a Kinda Funny podcast saying Roger's also just in the cuck chair for all of these.
100%. Yes, that's the hotel layout. You know what I mean? Also, a normal company would say, "Oh, we're putting up maybe not a normal company. Us, we would say we're putting up 6 Gamescasts today. We don't need to do anything." That's not how we roll here because we're all about live talk shows. You're getting Kinda Funny Games Daily right now. Right after this, you are getting our South of Midnight review. That's right, myself, Tim, Blessing, in Paris recorded our South of Midnight. You were on it, right?
No.
Okay, good. We recorded our South of Midnight review before they had to shoot off and be cowards, so you will get that on a tape delay right after this. We're excited to talk to you about that. And then after that, it is the Kind of Funny podcast, followed by more Pokemon in the streaming room. If you're a Kind of Funny member, you're going to get today's Gregway soon, all about the never-ending Stars in the Bank saga. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Anatoly Ast, Delaney Twining, Carl Jacobs, and Omega Buster. Today we're brought to you by Lost Skies, Monaco 2, and Rocket Money, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. 4 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
You might say 4. Come on, Greg. No, I put all the Switch stuff into 1. All right, so everybody chill out. There's a ton of Switch stuff to do this. I was just moving my window around here. I see the first super chat from Dexter. Ha ha ha. How does it feel to not cash in the stars, Greg? I did cash them in yesterday. Me and Andy, the backbone of Game Showdown, were here.
Right.
I called my shot. Tim could have stayed. Tim didn't have to go to New York. You know what I mean? A lot of people, I saw at least one person on Reddit saying he shouldn't have gone to New York. This was more important, and I agree with him. But as CEO, I awarded the stars to myself as a competitor, and I think you'll all find that's perfectly legal. So how does it feel, Dexter, to be wrong about everything?
How does it feel, Dexter?
James has a great point. I think, and this is a super chat. I think by Tim fleeing the state, instead of 3 stars, he should forfeit all of his stars. He ends it there. I'll say to Greg, but I would be open to.
Give me one.
No, I take the 3 that I'm owed by stars in the bank. You get the other 3. Tim has 0 stars.
Shoot. I mean, that sounds great to me.
And that's a great anniversary gift for you being here.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Happy to be there. Speaking of JJ
you
Baseball,
guys are so nice.
Super Chat says, congrats, Andy, on 8 years. You and the rest of Kind of Funny make every workday fly by. So thank you for what you all do.
Thank you.
We couldn't do. Oh, okay. And then Professor Cat says, you two hold hands romantically. We'll do that. Here, do the interlocking fingers. That's more romantic. That's what me and Jen like to do. I ever tell you about Fingy Pile?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you want to hear about Fingy Pile? It's a good story. No, it's a good story.
Sounds like a FromSoft enemy.
Oh, God. He's leaning back, audio listeners.
A few years ago at Dice Awards, I crushed the Dice Awards. I come off stage, meet up with Jen. We meet up with Andrew Goldfarb. We go and get on the escalator, and Jen and I were holding hands on the escalator, railing. And then we said, Goldfarb, join us. Get on here. And we started chanting Fingy Pile. And so he put his fingies on the pile, too. And then right next to Andrew Goldfarb was Sean Layden. And I turned around, I'm like, oh, hey, Sean. And this is still when he was in charge of PlayStation.
Get in here, Sean.
There was that moment of, do we ask him to join the Fingy Pile? We stopped there for a second. Number 1 on the Roper Report, of course, it is Switch 2 Day 2. That's right, of course, Switch 2 was revealed yesterday. You all have been amazing at supporting us, whether it be our live reactions, whether it be our Gamescast post show, whether it be Paris and Gary talking about it, whether it be, I didn't even talk about this, I think there, the reactions. Of course, in New York City, they went onto the streets of New York after seeing the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. They went on the streets and recorded their immediate reactions there. Blessing and Tim. Last I saw, over 30,000 of you had watched that. Thank you so much for that late content going, let alone all the content's up there. I digress.
I saw a comment saying, was there a planned meetup happening in New York? Why is this the first I'm hearing of it? Did I miss something? It was all very, very
super embargoed. Super embargoed.
Extremely embargoed.
To the point that I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so I'm not saying anything already about what they did there. I'm sure Tim, I think we have a Gamescast tomorrow scheduled for the recap of the New York City adventure, so we'll get that. And of course, they can all apologize for screwing over me for Stars in the Bank.
Of course they can.
But I digress. We're going to start at IGN.com. And this is a long one. Stick with me. And I'm going to fumble some of these words because I don't know what half of them mean. You'll be there to pick me up.
I got you, Big Duck.
You're my tech man. Nintendo confirms Switch 2 uses DLSS and ray tracing, but is being super vague about the details. Again, this is IGN's Wesley Yin Poole. Nintendo has confirmed the Nintendo Switch 2 uses DLSS and ray tracing technology, but has yet to go into any detail about how exactly or show them off. NVIDIA DLSS, Deep Learning Super Sampling, is an AI-powered technology that uses machine learning to upscale lower-resolution images in real time, enhancing both performance and image quality in games. This week's hour-long Nintendo Direct revealed how much the Nintendo Switch 2 would be at $449.99, but Nintendo has kept its technical information to a minimum. Even in the official Nintendo Switch 2 tech specs, there is only confirmation that the console uses a custom processor made by NVIDIA, and no more detail. In a hardware-focused roundtable Q&A in New York yesterday, attended by IGN, Nintendo representatives confirmed the Switch 2 uses DLSS, but did not specify which version of the tech or whether it had been customized for the Switch 2. Takuhiro Dota, Senior Director of Programming Management Group, Entertainment Planning and Development Department at Nintendo Entertainment Planning and Development Division, confirmed,
shit.
quote, there's some gymnastics I'm going to do in this article.
You didn't stutter over a syllable there.
I'm trying to be better. I just got to slow down.
God dang.
When you got titles, when your title includes the department you work in, but then I mentioned the department too, it's whatever. Quote, we use DLSS upscaling technology, and that's something that we need to use as we develop games. And when it comes to the hardware, it is able to output to a TV at a max of 4K. Whether the software developer is going to use that as a native resolution or get it to upscale is something that the software developer can choose. I think it opens up a lot of options for our software developers to choose from, end quote. It was a similarly vague response when Dota confirmed the Switch 2's GPU is capable of ray tracing. Quote, yes, the GPU does support ray tracing. As with DLSS, I believe this provides yet another option for the software developer to use and a tool for them, end quote. And what about the GPU itself? Tetsuya Sasaki, General Manager at Nintendo's Technology Development Division and Senior Director at its Technology Development Department, chimed in to say Nintendo prefers not to get into the weeds about things like GPU. Quote, Nintendo doesn't share too much on the hardware spec, he said. What we really like to focus on is the value that we can provide to our consumers. But I do believe that our partner NVIDIA will be sharing some information, end quote. In January, the internet spotted a patent filed July 2023, but published for the first time earlier this year that describes AI image upscaling technology that would help keep the video game download sizes small enough to fit on a physical game cartridge while offering up to 4K textures. The patent describes technology similar to NVIDIA's DLSS or PlayStation 5 Pro's Pisser to upscale images using AI.
Thank you, Greg.
Nothing about that was tough. You crushed all of that.
I tried my best.
What were you worried about?
I just get it in my head about
it.
You know what I mean? Andy, you are Mr. PC Gaming. You are the man who says frames win games. You, of course, introduced us all to the visual triangle. What's your takeaway from this long story that is vague on details, but is at least confirming that it can do all these things?
I'm not surprised that they're saying, yeah, Nintendo doesn't love talking tech that deeply, right?
Sure.
I was as surprised as they went into it, yesterday. I was surprised by even seeing numbers like 120 frames per second or
hertz. Just the word hertz.
Like I was just fucking shocked by that shit. But legitimately, I was very, very surprised by all that.
Not the normal way out.
I expected them to have like some little mascot logo, like I'm higher frame rate.
I'm Nintendo. Let me tell you,
I'm higher frame rate Harry or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they don't love going into detail like that. That's all stuff that I expect them to sort of be like, we'll let NVIDIA talk about that later. And that seems like a very normal thing for them to do. Let them talk about all the dorky shit. Let them give info then so Digital Foundry can put out a video telling you what the power exactly is sort of comparable to. Because when the chipset was first leaked, everybody, including people like Digital Foundry, looked at comparisons and said, all right, it's similar to this GPU that was like an internal laptop GPU, but it's more modernized, so expect power a little bit higher than a PS4 Pro. And that's kind of where people were gauging it, but they were like, again, this is a more modern chipset, so it's not a one-for-one thing because, it's a bit more modernized. It's just a newer piece of hardware. So I'm not surprised by any of that, Greg.
Can I bring in NVIDIA?
Sure.
Because they did put out a press release. Nintendo Switch 2 leveled up with NVIDIA AI-powered DLSS in 4K gaming. This is shorter, but still long. Stick with me. The Nintendo Switch 2, unveiled April 2nd, takes performance to the next level, powered by a custom NVIDIA processor featuring an NVIDIA GPU with dedicated RT cores and Tensor cores for stunning visuals and AI-driven enhancements. With the 1,000 engineer years of effort across every element, from system and chip design to a custom GPU, APIs, and world-class development tools, the Nintendo Switch 2 brings major upgrades. The new console enables up to 4K gaming in TV mode and up to 120 frames per second at 1080p in handheld mode. Nintendo Switch 2 also supports HDR and AI upscaling to sharpen visuals and smooth gameplay. AI and ray tracing for next level of visuals. The new RT cores bring real-time ray tracing, delivering like lighting, reflections, and shadows from immersive worlds. Tensor cores power AI-driven features like DLSS, boosting resolution for sharper details without sacrificing image quality. Tensor cores also enable AI-powered face tracking and background removal in video chat use cases, enhancing social gaming and streaming. With millions of players worldwide, the Nintendo Switch has become a gaming powerhouse and home to Nintendo's storied franchises. Its hybrid design redefined console gaming, bridging TV and handheld play. With 10 times the graphics performance of the Nintendo Switch 2 delivers smoother gameplay and sharper visuals. They have bullet points here. Tensor cores boost AI-powered graphics while keeping power consumption efficient. RT cores enhance in-game realism with dynamic lighting and natural reflections. Variable refresh rate with NVIDIA G-Sync and handheld mode ensures ultra-smooth, tear-free gameplay. Developers get improved game engines, better physics, and optimized APIs for faster, more efficient game creation.
I saw a Blue Sky post from Jason Schreier who was at the event and mentioned that Cyberpunk was running docked at 40 frames per second.
Okay.
In sort of, they're kind of, this is enhanced or whatever, 40 frames per second. And followed by an oof, parentheses oof, right? Like, oof, that's not great, right? You would expect maybe if we're not getting ray tracing to at least have 40 frames per second. I'm not sure what the exact visual quality there was, but after watching the homies over at Digital Foundry kind of break down what they were seeing, because I didn't play Cyberpunk on console, they were just mentioning how much better the image quality already was compared to the console versions, compared to just Xbox and PS5, right?
Really? Better than PS5?
Yeah, just in terms of, it looks like they were going for a higher sort of, a higher level of visual fidelity, and then maybe they're sacrificing that frame rate. I'm not sure what the game's going to have at launch, but all of this makes sense in that it's capable, this piece of hardware is capable of getting ray tracing at a most likely, smaller amount of frame rate. Around 40 frames per second. Maybe you get what Spider-Man was able to do, where they say you're getting very, very limited amount of frame rate or a limited amount of ray tracing, right? Where it's like, we'll give you ray trace reflections, and that's about it. You're not going to get ray trace shadows or ambient occlusion, which adds a lot more processing power. But, if Mario's walking over the water, you'll see reflections in real time.
Okay.
Who knows if that's even a possibility, right? But I'm not surprised by any of this. I'm super stoked that this piece of hardware seems way more capable than we initially thought, because the PS4, when they mentioned this new chipset is more powerful than what the PS4 Pro was able to do.
Yeah.
The PS4 Pro could not do ray tracing. It just didn't have that hardware capability. And with NVIDIA kind of working in overdrive on this chipset, making sure that it runs efficiently. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot for what the battery life apparently is, because I know that the Switch 2's battery life is seemingly not great, and people are kind of underwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
And you kind of give me like that, what were you expecting, like worse of a battery life?
Yes.
Really?
I think this is just the way all of these handhelds that I love so much go. The Switch, we all forget that Gen 1 Switch also's battery wasn't great. It was when they quietly updated that and like, oh, great, now there's another reason to buy. Then there was OLED and lights and stuff. And this is going to be the worst Switch 2 battery. This will be the worst Switch 2 battery you ever have.
And even other handheld options that are more powerful than like the Switch 1, right? Like those battery lives, depending on what game you're playing, also aren't like the best, right? Like my Steam Deck fucking can die in like an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, over here, and I'm not talking shit, but Sage Shinigami says 2 hours is crazy. It's like, well, I remember when I first got my Steam Deck, and yeah, it was an hour and a half playing games. I think, again, it's going to be what kind of game are you playing? How much is it drawing from? And again, I can't recommend, we've never been sponsored. I would love to be. The Anchor Power battery is enough. I got this just gigantic brick that it can power my laptop. I bought it for the Steam Deck, and I even rarely use it for the Steam Deck. I use it around the house for more things, but Going on the Chicago flight, you know, I'm tossing it in the bag.
I bought one at the airport. Way too much. I was like, what am I doing?
Wait, at the airport?
Yeah, it was such a.
Was it
badass.
pre-charged?
I was no. No, you know what? It was just a big ass power brick that did higher voltage.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought I was gonna be stuck at the airport for a while. Spend like $80 on it. Stupid decision. Just like so expensive, right? Yeah. But I'm not super surprised by. Oh, you're playing on the
ROG Ally, everybody.
Really?
Remember they sent me and Blessing a ROG Ally. Mine didn't charge. I finally had a free afternoon the other day, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna send it back. And like, oh, before you get the form, you got to talk to tech support. I'm like, oh. I talked to tech support. They were like, all right, well, here's what you do. Before we can give it, I'm like, it's not going to work. I've done everything. And they're like, okay, hold the power button down for 60 seconds. It's a hard reset everything, then plug it in. And I did it, went over, plugged it in the wall. Nothing happened. Walked back to the computer. I'm like, yeah, I did that and it didn't work. And I looked over and it was lit up. I'm like, God damn it. God damn it, it worked. It worked. Thank you.
PC gaming.
Yeah, I know,
PC
right?
gaming.
So I'm already downloading Starfield. I'm all set.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay, so
yeah.
you're making.
I'm doing Atomfall on the Xbox One here too.
You're making the big move over from Steam Deck.
I figured, hey, I'm about to go on a trip, and I'm waiting on a couple codes. Come on now, come on through. But if they don't come in, then it is a good time to be like, all right, cool, let's try this. Let's do a comparison trip. You know what I mean?
I love that.
I gotta get Steam on here though.
That's exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. When I guess when I'm thinking about battery life, if you're trying to play Metroid at 120 frames per second, which is still mind-blowing that that's even possible, even hearing Bless and Tim talk about it on the Gamescast this morning, just expect a lot less battery power, obviously. Yeah. I'm surprised.
And I think also, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's also, so are you trying to play Metroid with the mouse thing and stuff? Because that's going to draw more battery than I assume than having it attached and ready to go, in terms of input and what it's doing and how it's reading. I know the Joy-Cons have their own battery, but... It's whatever. There's use cases is what I'm saying. Back to you. Don't listen to me, everybody.
Well, I was just going to bring up a non sequitur and be like, obviously you got fucking Paco in the back blending stuff, right? And the microphone isn't interrupting, Yeah,
I know Paco in the back.
Paco making a
it's
banana
spring break. We're doing a more. He's like, I'm like, I had to bring the Switch. I want to play this. Paco, please stop.
But then I just thought about the dock having that fan. And how loud can that thing possibly
I'm sure
get?
It's going to get loud. We're going to hear that again.
Fucking
for sure.
Paco,
Fucking Paco. And it's, wait, are we mad at Paco or the fan now?
It's Paco's fault. I heard he wanted the fan.
Yeah, that's going to be always the interesting thing of whenever, especially for Nintendo's first dock with a fan, how loud will this dock be? Or, and what's going to happen and how long does it get clogged with cat hair and everything else going to go on? You remember this from every other thing we've ever had with a fan. Of course. Whether it be a PC, whether it be a PlayStation.
So blown away to just see 2160p here on the what I'm excited for is for the Switch to kind of just teach the layman about numbers. I saw a couple of people yesterday during our stream being like, it just says it does up to 2160 though. I thought this was 4K. It's like, well, honey, that is 4K. 3840 by 2160 is 4K.
Greg didn't know that. Greg doesn't care, for the record.
Of course,
I go, what's the recommended? What's the highest? Boom, there I go. I don't care.
It's all. I was also listening just to a couple of Nintendo podcasts or Nintendo just reactions from people who maybe are just Nintendo centric and hearing them talk about these terms like it's, fucking alien scripture.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way with them coming out with a game chat yesterday. And acting like they invented, and again, I'm not throwing shade, but for us, it sounds like they're trying to act like this is a brand new thing. It's like we all live through this pandemic. Everyone understands Discord Windows, but there are people who don't. I understand.
Of course.
Putting it on there, you got to sell your device. You got to do your dang thing.
I'm super stoked to see the really deep dive tech breakdowns.
Well, I have more things for you to look through.
Get nerdy with it.
I got a lot of Switch 2 tidbits to run us through. There are videos, there are GIFs, there are a bunch of things. But before that, I'll tell you about our things. If you didn't know, everybody, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about each and every day, kicking off our live talk show network. From here, we roll into Gamescast. Today, you'll have a Kind of Funny podcast. Then you get game streaming, and we have a great time. If you'd like to support that, we'd love it. Of course, we're an 11-person small business. You can get $10 to us, and we get you all of our shows ad-free. You get good karma for supporting us. And, of course, you get your daily dose of me, Greg Miller, in a podcast and video series I call Gregway. But right now, you're not using your benefits, so here's a word from your sponsors.
This episode's brought to you by Lost Skies. What would you do if you woke up and the world around you was now floating high in the clouds. Lost Skies is the new open-world survival-like that puts the power of exploration and choice in your hands. Use the physics-based grappling hook, glider, and your own custom airship to traverse the remains of this fractured world and uncover its mysteries. You and up to 5 friends will harness the power of ancient technology to survive the hostile islands that scatter the horizon and the threats that lurk in the sky itself. The battles are intense, so it's up to you to build a skyship to shelter you in fierce storms and take the battle to gigantic monsters. Want to take a break from fighting in the skies? Use the intuitive island creator and share your builds with the community. Head over to Steam and wishlist Lost Skies today and discover what's lurking beyond the horizon. This episode's brought to you by Monaco 2. Gather your crew, plan your heist, and let the chaos unfold in Monaco 2. Return to Monaco, a city teeming with excellent scores and gullible marks ripe for getting parted from their prized possessions. Go it alone or tackle heists as a team of 4 with online and local co-op. Just remember, even the best laid plans can blow up in your face, so you'll have to stay on your toes. Monaco 2 is the sequel to the cult classic Monaco. What's yours is mine that expands on every aspect of the game. New characters bring unique abilities and playstyles to help you escape the heat. And with new modes and procedurally generated levels, every run is full of surprises. The heist is on when Monaco 2 arrives on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation on April 10th. Y'all know how important it is to wishlist these games. It helps the developers so much, so please wishlist Lost Skies and Monaco 2. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, and then you're charged month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore. And save more money. Rocket Money has helped multiple members of Kind of Funny learn that they're still paying for things they totally didn't even realize. You know who I'm talking about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/kindoffunny today. That's rocketmoney.com/kindoffunny.
And we're back. I was like, I'm tooling around this. I put it down on an embargoed game. Probably shouldn't do that. I don't think anything. I don't think you're gonna see anything, but just in case. Andy, I want to talk to you about the Switch 2 still, because there's still so much going on. And where I want to start was a very simple one. All right, you had submitted this to the one, the only Kind of Funny Games Daily Slack channel we have, where you put it in there. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it's just a tweet from Nintendo, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. And then shaking hands with Joy-Con mouse control. Then it's pulling from the day one of the Treehouse Live. And the part we have here is someone using the mouse control, and then on the right, Joy-Con, of course, using the left one to play Metroid Prime 4. You put it in here. It's interesting. Of course, you can go listen to Blessing and Tim talk about the mouse controls, talk about Metroid, and all their Gamescast and first hands on there. And one of the things I thought in the hardware preview they did, their hands-on preview there, was the conversation, is if you're a video listener, you can see the hands have popped up there, of how it's cool to use the Joy-Con as a mouse, but then also how it broke their brain of you're doing that, but you're still using the buttons on the side of the Joy-Con to jump and do things. Similar to if you're using like one of those MMO mouses like me and Kevin had for Sweater. But it was like breaking Bless's brain to do that. Talk to me about what you're seeing here as a PC headshot and player. What do you expect? Are you going to play Metroid Prime this way?
Yeah, this seems like the way that I would prefer to play. I know Blessing was a bit confused by the auto-aiming nature in Metroid, where when you do lock on, you just sort of snap to the enemy, right? And that is still a completely viable way to play and enjoy Metroid. And then hearing Tim talk about how he was kind of infusing both of those methods, where he'd be locking on to somebody way over here on the left side of the screen and would notice something pop up on the right. So then he would unlock on, whip that mouse to the right, then lock onto the dude who was like, almost further than a 180 away from him, right? I just love the idea that this seems like a viable tactic. It looks uncomfortable as hell, and I hope we get some third-party accessories to kind of make it more mouse-like.
That's what they were talking about in their preview as well. You have to imagine you'll be getting a fat mouse that can be a Joy-Con as well on there or whatever. I do think it's interesting as you see this. One of the things that's called out by the preview from Bless and Tim is that it's seamless. We talked a long time ago, maybe the C button is going to be a cursor button, switch you into mouse mode, etc. Right. If you watch the hands here, while playing, all you have to do is lift it and turn it, and you leave mouse mode and go back to double Joy-Con mode. So it is that idea that if you're in something and all of a sudden you want to go back to it, bam, put it down. You're in mouse mode, pull it up, you're back into Joy-Con mode. I thought that was really interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I don't expect to use this, but I think it's cool for it being there that way.
Yeah, I thought it would be a bit more of a labored mechanic. Go into the settings, maybe restart the game.
Exactly.
That sort of bullshit.
Yeah. It's the stuff we're used to, right?
Yeah, it seems really neat that they are kind of catering to it just being convenient, right? Like whatever the player wants to do, maybe I think because Metroid Prime has a lot of different mechanics built into it, there might be some stuff that you might prefer just doing with the mouse. And then there, would be other stuff where you go, all right, back to controlling mode or whatever. I like that sort of flexibility. I still do think that it looks kind of uncomfortable, just kind of having your hand all in a weird
a
position.
Tiny mouse?
Yeah, and
that
just
big fat mouse
placement of your index finger on the trigger and all that.
Yeah,
now, I'm not surprised by controlling stuff on the mouse, because I think they were mentioning on the whatever becomes your mouse hand would have some sort of button functionality as well.
Yeah, you'd still be using your thumb for the face buttons.
Right, so that's totally normal for me. I always have not only the two mouse buttons that you're clicking, but then the thumb buttons. The thumb buttons are always used by me in games, and I always set one of them melee and one of them to dash or whatever. And so that's all just already in my repertoire, so this seems totally up my alley. The game looks so fucking good.
It does look good.
It looks so visually impressive. And dude, I swear to God, I thought when we first saw that trailer of it on the Direct last week or whatever it was, I was like, man, this looks way too good to be just Switch 1 hardware. And maybe that was just a Switch 1 trailer still.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not a fair comparison because I just think back to whenever Metroid Dread would do the zoom-in shots on Samus, and you see, wherever there's an indentation line in her armor, you see the fucking low-res texture trying to make a... And I always felt like whenever we saw glimpses of Dread or glimpses of Prime 4, it always looked a lot cleaner. Now, granted, those things are made to be clearer because it's first-person view, and you're made to always see them up close. Where with Samus, with Metroid Dread, it's always really, really far away. And they'll zoom in every now and then, but don't expect it to look the best because that's not how it's intended to be most of the time. But yeah, this game looks so stunning, and Retro's really cooking visually on it.
Let's keep talking about looks and visuals. Red Misfit super chats and says, I have an issue with Andy's emphasis on 60 frames per second.
Let me hear.
30 frames per second is suitable for single-player, story-driven action RPGs. It's fine unless there's multiplayer, sports, or fast action. Again, a solid 30 is fine. Perfect.
That's fine if you think that.
Whatever, yeah, it's,
I'm happy you think that, but why not want more? Why would you settle for that?
I mean, he describes my favorite genre of games, single-player, story-driven action RPGs, and I every time it's 30, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I play at 60 if I have the option.
Remember, in Assassin's Creed in the open world where it's a nice, smooth 60, and then you go back to the base and it's locked at 30, and you're like, oh, God.
Yeah, you get that whiplash.
Disgusting.
That's fine. I mean, look, hey, you control the buttons you press, like that Doom fucking tweet. You could do whatever you want. I just think that we've gotten to the point with frame rate where, hey, 720p is fine for you, too. Why not just play at 720p if you want less of an experience, right?
Sure.
Why not want faster frame rate? Because it not only looks smoother, but it responds quicker. That's the most important thing. It's not just a look thing, it's a feel thing as well. And that the feel thing is such an easy thing to kind of disregard because it's hard to show that off. If I show you, when I did my Bloodborne mod thing, and I had to fight one of the bosses on on 30 frames per second, so I had to use my other PS5 to fight one of the bosses. I was like, oh my God. And then we switched back and all of the chat was like, holy shit, my eyes feel clean now. And it's not just a look thing. Obviously, the look is massively different, but it's the feel thing for me. It's whenever if I'm playing a first-person shooter and I'm used to playing Valorant at 240 frames per second, sometimes, PCs are PCs, and my monitor will reset to 60 hertz. and I go back and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is wrong with my PC? Am I something about to explode? I'm like, oh no, it reverted back to 60 frames. Let me get that updated, and then it feels smooth and snappy again.
Smooth and snappy. Let's move on to something also snappy. They're selling a Piranha plant camera. Chris Scully of VGC, a Nintendo Switch 2 camera shaped like a piranha plant is set for release at launch. German retailer Media Market has listed the Nintendo Switch 2 Piranha plant camera, stating that it will be released on the Switch 2 launch date of June 5th. The product isn't part of the official Nintendo accessories lineup and is instead being released by peripheral manufacturer Hori, which of course means it's licensed. You see it on there. And it's that thing where I saw the camera from Nintendo. I was like, that's dumb as shit. I would never buy it. I see this and I'm like, I don't want it. If I need a camera, if Ben wants a camera real bad for the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm buying this goddamn Petey the Piranha Plant, aka Chad.
I had misunderstood what this was initially because I saw the post, on the Slack early this morning, and initially I thought it was just an aesthetic kind of covering or an aesthetic hey, whatever camera, if you buy the Switch camera, it's boring and it looks just like a normal Logitech, whatever. But here's this little decorative thing you can kind of surround it by. No, this is how the camera is.
That's dope as hell.
That's interesting. It's like the little camera inside the teddy bear.
Exactly.
It's a nanny cam.
Spy on the babysitter.
Speaking of spying, Gregway, let's talk about the camera and privacy. We go to a longer article from Eddie at GameSpot.
Did you drink to let the audio listeners know I'm drinking?
No, I drank and then I just wanted to be dead.
Game didn't pause.
Switch 2 design director Sumikazu Ono said Nintendo thought, quote unquote, a lot about how to ensure game chat is safe and secure. Players will not be able to use game chat with everyone on their friend list by default. Quote, we assume some players will have somebody on their friends list who they've only played online with once, and yet somehow they ended up accepting their friend request. Given that possibility, players might feel uncomfortable if suddenly everyone on their friends list can invite them to a video chat, Ono said. With that in mind, during the initial setup, you can choose the friends you want to be able to chat with from your friends list before you start using game chat, end quote. Andy, I'll tell you straight up, you're going to be the only person I add. I want to be able to interrupt your streams. Come in cool costumes,
Nah, I'm okay.
It'll be fun. You'll love it. If you join a room created by a friend, players will only see people you or your friend have approved from game chat. Before joining a room, players will see if a friend of a friend is in the room. If they don't want to join for any reason, they don't have to. With regard to protecting the safety of children, Ono said Nintendo had, quote, a lot of internal discussion on this topic. It was decided that children under 16 can only use game chat with people on their friend list if their parent or guardian has given permission via the Nintendo Switch Parental Controls app. Quote, in the case of voice chat, once a parent gives their child approval to chat with a particular person, their child will always be able to connect with the approved person from then on, Ono said. Nintendo takes an even more cautious approach to video chats. When a child tries to start or join a video chat on their Switch 2, a request is sent to the parent's app. The request must then be approved before the video chat can begin. While children may feel a bit restricted, we decided to prioritize safety and require parents to approve the request every time, Ono said. Then they have a subhead here I like. Is the Switch 2 camera spying on you? The Nintendo Switch 2 camera has a privacy shutter that closes when not in use. As such, players should be able to see at a glance if the camera is on or off. Quote, we want everyone to feel comfortable using this feature, so we've placed a high priority on safety to avoid any unpleasant experiences. Of course, we want all players to follow the community guidelines, even when chatting with friends, Ono said.
I was going to say, I don't know if Nintendo's got the tech like that to even try to attempt to spy. Like, we don't know how, actually.
Miyamoto's like, can you join? I need you, your parent, it's too much. Don't worry about it. You're not the primary account family holder of the Nintendo Switch online plan, so it's all blah, 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 blah.
This is great that, obviously, when you're dealing with anything this delicate, you need to sort of take precautions. And on the flip side, 12-year-olds are watching Andrew Tate videos on TikTok, and it's a weird world out there already. But I'm glad that Nintendo's doing what they can at least to try to help mitigate any.
People are going to find or work around this. The bad guys are going to be bad guys. So giving as many hurdles as you need to, or as you possibly can, to try to stop that is great. It's interesting to read this, and me, Greg Miller, be like, oh, I gotta start thinking about this. You know what I mean? Where it's like, Jen in the stick. This is gonna sound way worse than it is. Jen made a little Benny profile on the Switch. You know what I mean? Which we don't even use because he wants to use my saves and everything else or whatever. But I'm like, oh. He's just a kid, tinkering or whatever. Like, he's super stoked for Donkey Kong and Mario Kart and all that jazz. And he's not going online anytime soon. But it is of like, oh, I should get the parental controls app. I should actually look into that. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be interesting to see him as he ages up and has Switch and video games, what that actually looks like and what hurdles I need to go through to make sure he's as safe as possible.
I don't know how any of that sounded worse than it sounds.
I didn't want people to think my 3-year-old has unfettered access right now to a Nintendo Switch or online or X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean?
I mean, you are already raising him up not to be, to be a kid who just expects everything, because you saying he just uses your saves and everything, not even having to earn his characters.
Dude, granted, by the time he's of an age, I think this would matter more. Hopefully, we've settled all this. But the day when it was like, oh, I want to play Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, right? Yeah, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. I was like, great. And we were out or whatever, we were here, and so I gave him the Xbox Cloud version. And he went and he goes, where are all my cars?
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, well, Benny, technically your cars are on the PlayStation 5 version. You know what I mean? This is the same game, but it's not using the same
I want my cars,
I was like, fine, I'm downloading on PlayStation 5. It'll take forever.
Father, I don't know if you heard me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care about this. Today, I snap awake in the bed because he came and slept with us. He's in a thing right now. In the middle of the night, he's coming to sleep with me and Jen. And it was like, morning, gave us our morning kisses. He gives each of us 3 kisses. And then he was just like, I want my lifeguard car. And we're like, okay, where did you leave the lifeguard car? I don't know. And so then it became a search of the entire house trying to find the one Hot Wheels car he wants or whatever. I'm out there in my PJs in the car.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what I mean? Jen's car covered in trash because it's a mom's car. You know what I mean? There's like Hot Wheels wrappers and a banana peel and all this stuff. I had to put no car. Don't know where the car is.
I'm so impressed by how much you're able to do on how little sleep. Because your life obviously changed when you had a kid.
Yeah.
And I just think about, like, not only your commute in, yesterday being a long ass day. Yeah. I left like at 3. And I was like, ooh, that was a long one. And being like, man, Greg's still there. How did you not fall asleep on the road?
I rode it out to the bitter end. Well, then it was family date night before swim class, like we do. And then we went to swim class. And swim class was me and Jen sat down. Jen had already had a point of like, I'm exhausted because she was up early for Direct 2. I sat down though, and that was the first time like I stopped down without a task, and that was when I started powering down. I was like, "Oh, whoa, I'm tired. We gotta." So the lifeguards got it. I'll be fine. More Nintendo Switch stuff though for you, okay?
Okay.
This one I put on here: Zelda and Street Fighter amiibos are at Target. Now, this made it to the list here of breakdowns, right? Because Tim put this into the Games Daily chat we keep talking about, right? And just wrote OMG. So I was like, oh, this is new. So I put it out. But then I slacked him privately and I go, pretend I'm not a Nintendo fan. Is your OMG because of the prices? The characters? And he responded, amiibos are still a thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I assumed it was because of the $10 markup on the Street Fighter characters.
Yeah, of course. There is a lot to talk about. We knew yesterday from the presentation, they said Street Fighter 6 would be getting amiibos. Now you see this. You got new Street Fighter ones at $30 and you got Zelda ones at $20. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's just that they're still there, which Tim talks about in his previews already, that, of course, there were rumors that amiibos would be dunzo, but they are, in fact, not dunzo. They are living and thriving. So.
Everything's more expensive. Yeah. Everything's going to be more expensive.
Is that what it is? How much were amiibos last generation? $20 probably?
I think they were probably 20, yeah. Okay, I was just, shocked that...
I just looked at it because the last one I can remember was Sora, and right now he's going for $16.
Okay.
But I imagine he's
been marked down.
Probably. Yeah. Well, it's Nintendo. That's $16 on the Nintendo store. So maybe he came out at $16. I don't know.
They're still expensive.
That's what you get, Per Schneider.
Everything's more expensive. Obviously, that's the big conversation. Everything's so expensive. Why, drop the price, Nintendo, drop the price. That's what was being spammed during the Treehouse chat. And fuck, what are you gonna do? There's the things that we need to survive and live are way more expensive. I'm not surprised by the entertainment things being more expensive as well. It sucks.
It does suck.
But what do you, I don't know.
Honestly, we're lucky that these are the prices that they are at, especially with fucking yesterday afternoon.
The kids can't get fucking school lunches, you know what I mean?
Spall says it's almost like we voted for this. Some of us.
I don't know. It feels like there's obviously necessary outrage for this, And then I look at like the rest of everything that's happening. I'm like, what about that? Like, what about the stuff that is required to help people live?
It's the exact same thing, though, right? Where it's like, there's outrage about this because it's the first. Because the second will be there, the third will be, and then it's going to be like, okay, this is just life now. We go on.
And I'll say
I was filling up the fucking gas tank today. I looked, I'm like, holy shit.
I'll also say it's the stuff that is directly affecting the gamer now.
Yeah.
I mean, whether, obviously there's costs of rent and the meme of egg prices and all that, and just food in general.
Yeah.
Groceries, that's a very unique word. People we've been using that word forever, you fucking weirdo. Like,
well, he's gonna fix that day one. Don't forget.
Day one. That's right. When is that? When's day one? But like, I don't know. I'm not surprised by the things that are optional and entertainment to be more expensive, as everything else is more expensive. And again, it sucks. I'm not excusing this.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why people are this surprised by. Like, I'm totally with Barrett's thoughts yesterday, where Barrett kept on saying, "Look, I hope it's $400, but I'm mentally preparing myself for a $600 price."
Yep.
And to me, that's a totally viable thought, because it's like,
everything sucks.
Not that I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if it was $600, but I'd be like, yeah, fuck, it's $600. That's the reality that we're in now. And when you can't even afford to buy things that are necessary to live and to survive, and houses have been just this commodity that are not, they haven't been affordable for a decade or so. Like, I'm just not surprised by these optional things, these optional luxuries going up in price as well. Just like movie theater ticket prices are crazy. Here we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite Kind of Funny Games daily segment. Here comes the money. Greg's sound financial advice. Usually we check in on Ubisoft, but there's no rule saying we can't check in on the overall. So let's go see how the stock market is doing. We're going to go to CNBC. They report
fake news.
The Dow drops 1,300 points. S&P 500 loses 4% as stock market rout on Trump's tariff worsens. Live updates. Stocks nosedive Thursday, sending the S&P 500 back into correction territory after President Donald Trump unveiled sweeping tariffs of at least 10% on some countries.
It's a beautiful tariff.
The news intensified a recent sell-off and raised the risk of a global trade war that hit the already sputtering U.S. economy. The broad market index dropped 4%, putting it on track for its worst day since September 2022.
Groceries.
So the update, not good. But make America great again.
Not good.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's
things aren't good. Things have gotten worse, and it feels purposeful.
Uh-huh.
And when certain figures of government say, look, maybe things need to get really, really bad in order for them to get great again.
Yeah.
Like, it all feels very planned and calculated. But again, just to go back
But also it doesn't, because, when people are asked, of these tariffs that were announced, are those on top of the already in place tariffs? And the response is, yeah, maybe. And that's like an actual person in, a position of power. It's
yeah,
like,
I just do what people tell me,
Fuck, man.
Yeah, things are bad. Things suck. Things are going to keep on getting more expensive, and that's the reality we're in. I don't love it. I don't know what to tell you, though, because these are still going to sell. And when you have someone like me, well, people go, well, Andy, look, you're in a great situation. You get shit for free. It's like, okay, well, I don't own a house, and I don't have a child, and these are the luxuries that I can spend. these are the luxuries that I can spend on to help make, it's like, well, you would be able to afford a house if you didn't fucking buy, all that avocado toast or whatever. It's going back to that same argument. It's like, well, these are the little luxuries that I can spend to kind of make my brain go like, oh, maybe things aren't all shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's it sucks that you see that immediate jump from, oh shit, Tears of the Kingdom, $70. Whoa. Okay, this is the only one. And then to see the rest of the pricing structure immediately drop in. I got a Blue Sky DM today, and I don't know how verifiable it is, but I don't check sources. I'm not a journalist.
Chad, super chat, and said, sent Andy a DM on Blue Sky clarifying Switch software price.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for all the work you do.
It says, hey, Andy, I'm a big fan. I know there's a lot of discussion yesterday on physical digital price. I work at GameStop, and we have prices in our internal system for each game, and it looks like they are going for a tiered thing. Again, these are American prices. So the $80 tier would be Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Kart Jamboree plus Jamboree TV, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. The $70 tier, Donkey Kong, Breath of the Wild. $60 tier, Street Fighter 6. $40 tier, Bravely Default. Looks like they're going for this sort of tiered structure. And again, the fact that these digital commodities that are, these digital things are still less expensive than the now, whatever it is, $90 physical edition. Like, all of this sucks a lot. And people are going to suffer. And people who are already suffering will, like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel for wanting to get back into your favorite hobby or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why you're going to continue to see the free-to-play stuff like Fortnite and Call of Duty and those things that don't require a monthly membership to PS Plus or to Xbox Live or whatever the fuck they're calling it nowadays. Like, those free-to-play games are still going to continue to dominate because the struggling families out there go, fuck, what? You want what? Dude, you play Fortnite all the time anyway. Play that. It's free. I haven't spent a dime on that in 3 years that you've been playing that.
They're buying them skins.
Well, as a Christmas gift.
Sure.
$30 Fortnite card or whatever. But yeah, families, I think, are being conditioned to not have to spend, families that aren't in the know gaming-wise, right? And that makes it even tougher for the games industry when they say, fuck no, dude. You want what for that game? No.
Yeah.
You play Fortnite all the time. Go back to that. I haven't spent a single dime on that except for your birthday where I give you a gift card.
Let me bring in Darren from GameSpot, who has an article, Why Do These Games Cost So Much? One of the big surprises following this week's Switch 2 deep dive was the price tag for Mario Kart World, as the game has a suggested retail price of $80 ahead of its June 5th release. This is a major increase, especially at a time when consumers are still debating the value of high-profile games increasing from 60 to 70. And according to analysts, this could become the new standard for the industry. In a breakdown of the Switch 2 and its pricing, analysts at Nico Partners discuss the impact of Mario Kart World and its price. Quote, while there has been some sticker shock regarding the price of games increasing from 60 to 70 or 80, these price points are set to become industry standard over the next 2 years, especially on Nintendo first-party games, Nico Partners explained. One reason for the higher price is the increased cost of the new and the faster game cards themselves, with higher capacities being more expensive to manufacture than a Blu-ray disc. PlayStation 5 Blu-ray disc, my apologies. Left one out there. As always, it's just, there's this push and pull. There's this thing in the air. There's all these different things happening at once in a time where nobody feels like they're doing well financially.
And this also just feels like a big precautionary move from Nintendo. I
agree with that.
Look, everybody knows me. I'm the centrist. It's kind of funny. I don't lean any way politically. No, but I think things would have, I think the prices still would have been expensive under Biden for. Oh, sure. This isn't a presidential thing. I think things are. Well, it certainly is now. It's getting way worse, right? And that was all a joke. I'm obviously way more. I don't even like Biden, right? But like things were getting expensive anyway, right? And you're seeing still a lot of people struggling under certain, living under certain economic statuses.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I still kind of feel like we would have seen these prices from Nintendo anyway, tariffs or not. I think having that jump would have gone up, maybe not on the console hardware, but I think on the software, I wouldn't have been surprised to have seen that $10 jump. I'm surprised to see the $90 number anywhere being listed from a Nintendo product. But again,
someone said there's so much news yesterday and so much, there was a lack of clarity yesterday. Are we confirming in the 90s? Someone in the chat said 90 for physical isn't true. We were going off of a Spanish site that was listing them differently. I don't know if I'm not sure where we have netted out this morning on a $90 price tag for games.
I think from what I could tell last night and this morning, I think it's just 80. Okay. But yeah, things might still be a little bit hazy there.
It's 90 euros, someone's pointing out. It's 90s really in Ireland anyway. Okay, thank you. Yesterday was a bit of confusion on all that, obviously, as all this is happening.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to pop in and say I agree with Andy on, like, we probably would have seen some of these jumps anyway. I was listening to Last of the Nintendogs last night, and Jeff Grubb was making really good points of, for the longest while, or for a little bit, Nintendo felt like they were kind of behind on like uppricing their stuff because of, you know, the PS4 and PS5 generations, and especially with like the looming threat of GTA 6 and like the predictions even before election stuff, like all this stuff, people thinking like GTA 6 might come out and be like $100. This Nintendo move feels very much like they wanted to make the first step before any of that happened, instead of they price things normally and then, you know, then we get GTA 6 for $100 and then games start being 70, 80 regularly, and then they're still, you know, charging at 60 regularly, and then later on charging up and stuff like that. So
let's bring in Steven Totilo while we are live. His latest Game File newsletter has come through my inbox, and it's one of the lead story is Video Game Industry Group expects Trump tariffs to have dire effects. The Entertainment Software Association, the U.S. trade group that reps all major gaming companies, including Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, says President Donald Trump's recently announced tariffs, quote, are going to have a real and detrimental impact on the video game industry, end quote. Trump announced steep tariffs on dozens of countries yesterday, continuing his current administration's efforts to smash things and see what holds together. ESA Senior Vice President Aubrey Quinn tells GameFile that gaming hardware, including consoles, are likely to take a bit hit. I probably meant big hit, but it says bit hit due to new levies. These machines are made in some of the countries hit with the big tariffs yesterday. Beyond that, their parts are sourced from multiple countries, and the devices often cross into the U.S. multiple times as they are made and prepped for retail. Quote, any one product that a consumer would buy is likely to be subject to many of the tariffs announced, all compounded on top of one another. The new Trump tariffs were announced yesterday include a 76% levy on Vietnam and 34%, parentheses, or 54% on goods from China. That's not because Steven doesn't know. That's because our administration doesn't know.
Oh, man.
Among other countries where gaming hardware is made.
A lot of moving parts.
They were paying attention to Nintendo Direct yesterday, too. It was hard for them.
Yeah.
Nintendo, which in recent years moved the bulk of its console manufacturing to Vietnam, announced the launch price of the Switch 2 yesterday at $450 US, a price increase over the Switch 1's launch cost, even when adjusted for inflation. In Japan, where the system isn't subject to U.S. tariffs, a Japanese language-only version of the system, locked to users who designate their accounts as being based in Japan, will sell for the equivalent of $343. Parentheses, Nintendo has avoided saying whether the higher price for the U.S. market was tied to their expectations around tariffs. The ESA, like others, believes the tariff story is far from over, with the risk of retaliatory tariffs coming. Quote, I think what we heard yesterday is not the end of the story. Not for the United States, not for other countries, Quinn said. Asked whether the Trump administration had a point that more goods simply should be made in the U.S. and whether the ESA's members should consider that option, Quinn said, quote, I think every company, every industry, the video game industry included, needs to think about what's best for consumers, best for business, and best for employees. Supply chains are complicated, and certainly supply chains don't change overnight. Everything that is considered or decided can't be a quick turnaround and can't be a knee-jerk reaction to any particular announcement, end quote. Last week, the ESA joined the other tech trade groups in asking U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer to avoid new tariffs and, quote, increase the use of existing trade tools to strengthen trade relations with key markets for the U.S. Products and services, end quote. The ESA had asked to meet with Greer, but has not done so yet. The ESA, I'm wrapping up right now, the ESA, Quinn said, is nevertheless, quote, optimistic that there will be a solution that doesn't damage U.S. industries, ours included, and doesn't hurt U.S. consumers, end quote. I am not optimistic.
Yeah. Federal minimum wage has been $7.25 or $7.50, I'm sorry, since 2009. In 2009, movie tickets were $7.50 on average. Mm-hmm. In 2009, video game prices were $60. Video game prices have been the thing to have been infected the least by inflation, possibly because they were already at a certain price point. But the way everything has gotten more expensive since then, and federal minimum wage has remained unchanged since 2009, you can't talk about this without talking about politics. Like, I'm sorry for the stick to gaming crowd. Fucking shove it up your ass.
You,
like,
you
just
made
can't.
it an hour and 5 minutes into this show. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, it can't be talked about.
This is the news. This is the news. This is the world you live in. The world that you live in is affected by this news. This is video game news. Like,
no, I only want video games for escapism. I don't want any other context surrounding it.
Man, I would fucking love that to an extent. I would fucking love that if we were able to be like, hey, man, let the adults handle it. But we can't
you can only have your escapism, after you come to terms with, what the real world is doing to your art.
I incorrectly corrected myself. Federal minimum wage is $7.25 since 2009. I said $7.50. It's still $7.25 in the last 26 years. No, 16 years, I'm sorry. And people are still, around the country feeling, obviously state by state minimum wage in California is up to $16, which is great. It obviously costs a lot more to live here. But like the fact that has not been moved up on the federal level, and yes, things get more expensive, and things are way more expensive right now than they should be. Why does it cost $70 for my Honda Civic to fill up a tank of gas? It sucks. It sucks, And people are hurting out there, and for the little amount of escapism that people can get, that's also out of reach for a lot of people now.
100%. Yeah,
and it fucking sucks, And billionaire and corporations will still not be paying the amount of taxes that they should be paying.
100%.
And we'll raise tariffs and skyrocket that aspect of our economy that we have not seen since right before the Great Depression. Which is interesting, but we won't raise federal minimum wage, which would actually encourage more spending and a healthy economy. Like
it doesn't trickle down.
It never did. It never did.
When I heard about Reaganomics in the movie Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, and the fucking Quintanilla family is talking about Reaganomics, like it doesn't fucking trickle down. But they know that. They just don't give a fuck.
Yep. Let's clear our palates. Andy, while we have been live, a trailer has dropped for Marvel Rivals and a new character.
Oh, shit.
Would you like to watch that in live?
Hell yeah, dog. Finally, we can start to goon.
Guests from across the
oh, Andy, you have no idea.
I welcome you to.
Oh my God, Emma Frost.
Gala.
God, way to clear the palate.
Welcome, one and all, to Krakoa. This living island may be a sovereign mutant nation, but tonight, our home is yours. Honored guests,
Jesus.
I propose a toast.
It's insane.
Chun-Li levels.
Here, there are no rivals. Man and mutant.
Those guys got their own zip codes, man. It's crazy.
Greg bot super chats and says, "Did you guys see the new Marvel's Rivals character? Thick thighs save lives."
Unbelievable.
For our survival.
And try to stay alive just long enough to see my way as the age of
Ultron looks cool. Chris Anka, you out there? We're getting back into Marvel Rivals.
Chris, we're getting back in April 11th. The Hellfire Gala Season 2 begins, so you're all getting back into that.
Sweet.
I did it for you.
I mean, I've always loved Marvel Rivals. I just have not had the time to get back to it. It's been long game review after long game review, and I'm still making my way through First Berserker Kazan, and I'm playing that off stream.
God damn,
it's a long fucking game. It's a hard fucking game.
Let him have fun.
And but in my free time, I'm also playing Dark Souls 2, and I've kind of put that away so I can get back to the DLC later on.
Yeah.
And I'm so close to beating Avowed, and there's just so much shit. It's like I haven't had that free time like I usually do, where it's, I have a month and a half to just go fucking balls deep in Destiny 2 DLC, right?
Yeah.
I haven't had the chance to do that with Marvel Rivals. But
will Emma Frost bring you back?
I'm gonna hopefully try to find a brief period of respite because I miss competitive games. I love playing first-person shooters, third-person shooters with the homies. So I've been wanting to get back to it. There's just always something else to prioritize, unfortunately.
I understand.
But fortunately, because the things I'm prioritizing are also sick. But yeah, it's never an indictment on the multiplayer game that Andy is like, you're not playing that anymore? Damn, that game must have sucked. It's like,
I'm always trying to get back to Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that thing where everything takes me away, every review, everything.
Yeah, I never want people to think like, oh, Andy fell off of that shit. That game must suck. No, that game kicks ass. I got other games to play.
Well, there you go. Emma Frost and the Gala, April 11th. And then one more palate cleanser. This is just something that to toss it on the fire, all right? Is Titanfall 3 real, and is it coming? Nobel Blue Sky today, a rumor. According to 2 Apex Legends leakers, Titanfall 3 is in development and will launch in 2026.
I'm so fucking sick of this shit.
He then linked to a Reddit thread where Osvaldalator and Yoro Tsuki, 2 Apex Legends leakers with a history of good leaks going back multiple years, have just teased Titanfall 3. Yoro Tsuki stated that it will release in 2026 and possibly be teased at the Game Awards.
I'm so fucking sick of Titanfall 2. We just like Blessing said, we are leaving Black Myth Wukong in 2024. We should have left Titanfall 3 rumors in 2023. I'm tired of hearing of rumors. Anytime I'm on a show, it's like there's always a new, a developer from Respawn said that this might fucking, and dude, I'm tired of it. Show it to me when there's a tease. I'm fucking, it's always a will they, won't they, just kiss already.
I trust Jeff Grubb in his reporting where, it was like stuff that they were working on, and then
tired of Grubb too. I love Grubb.
I'm fucking sick of Grubb.
I love Grubb.
But like nothing is being currently worked on, at least that's what he said like a month or 2 ago, I'm pretty sure. So like Titanfall 3 coming next year, like no fucking shot, man. Like absolutely not.
There you go. Andy, Titanfall, tariffs, and Piranha plant cameras are big news. If I wanted something smaller, say the tiniest news I need to know about, where would I go?
You'd go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about, just like my tiny hands.
Your last story, Wii News. Call of Duty Warzone servers are back online, adding Verdansk for the first time since 2021. And hey, housekeeping for you. It's been 1,200 days since we dropped Howard Hospital. 1,200 days without Verdansk. This Friday, that's tomorrow, the map that started it all returns, and so do the Jabroni boys. That's right, even Andy is back to play Call of Duty Warzone one more time. Friday at noon, Mike, Nick, Andy, and Chris Anka in studio return to the game that brought them all together, but also tore them all apart for one mega marathon stream of laughter, frustration, and friendship.
I'm really shocked Mike wanted to do this.
Really?
Well, because he keeps on talking about Warzone, and then Chris is like, Nick really wants to play with you. He's like, yeah, but I need you there, Chris. I can't do it with Nick. Like, Mike's already hit that level with Nick. He's like, I just can't. I can't,
Fair.
And so this will be great to have those sort of dynamic relationships in one room. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to get back to Verdansk.
And then in a long episode of your show, your last Wii News item is just that South of Midnight is out today in early access, which is notable because you're about to get the Kind of Funny Gamescast review of South of Midnight. Before then, we turn over to You're Wrong. Beetle Bat confirms what I blue skied. You should be following me. Dry Bones has been confirmed for Mario Kart World, so don't worry about that. And then Not Krios said Andy said DF said Cyberpunk 2077 was looking better than PS5 on Switch. They said it was an upgrade over PS4, not PS5. Digital Foundry.
Oh, okay. I just meant the console version. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
It sounded like they were talking about the console
I meant to
versions.
double back to that because Blessing, in his report on the hardware, said he thought that Cyberpunk 2077 on Switch was a recommendable game. That it didn't look as good as the other ones, but you could totally play it and have fun.
Okay, gotcha.
Something installed over here.
Good to know. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness, gosh. Of course, we asked people watching live on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to chime in with super chats. Many of you had. Many of them have already been read. Dexter apologized. Feels pretty good to be wrong. Congrats, Andy, with a smiley emoji for your anniversary, of course.
Triforce's Power 31.
It's Topher celebrates my 3 stars coming home. That's a joke about this from Zombies 8 Keegan. But yeah, he's doing the pee poo poo caca. Okay, there it is.
It's coming home.
Relish Police says, Greg, my eyes are going. Hit me with Clark Kent recommendations. I like Ray-Ban and Ray-Ban glasses a lot. I have both the Meta Ray-Bans and then these are just regular Ray-Bans. I got them at Costco too. Get them at Costco. Not the Ray-Bans or the Metas. It doesn't matter.
These fake glasses I bought on I don't know. I think it was Zenny.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Chocolate Fox 9 says, shout out to Andy for 8 years. You're the best.
Hey, thank you.
Gondor's Condor says, Andy, I'm celebrating you and your Dark Souls love by losing 30k in souls to the lost Izalith battle.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. It could have been 2 million like Mike did in Elden Ring.
Volk Dasher super chats and says, South of Midnight getting a 76 on Metacritic is breaking my heart. Still very excited, but wanted them to have a great reception. What do we think of it? You'll find out soon. Let me tell you, some scores are higher than that. Some scores are lower.
Wow.
Little tease for you, you know what I mean? Ninja Fingers says the Switch 2 is £399 base model or 430 Mario Kart bundle pounds in the UK. With those specs, that's a bargain. Can't wait. £30 is a steal for Mario, indicating the bundle thing. We're getting a good deal on the bundle here as well. Danger Daddy D says birthday tax. Excited for Prime 4, but those mouse controls look awkward and uncomfortable. Plus, if I can play on a TV in my living room, would I need a table? Odd. You would.
I have a little bed tray that I started. I put my laptop on when I don't want a Steam Deck and be in an awkward position and all that. And I have a little bed tray that kind of goes over my thighs. Thick thighs save lives.
Yep.
Have a little cup holder in there as well. Put some goldfish crackers. Maybe some reduced fat Cheez-Its.
I saw a lot of this thick thighs business.
Yeah.
I call them noise canceling headphones.
You got to give him that. That was good.
That was pretty good.
You know what I mean? Come on now.
That is really good.
Zeke Speak Super Chat says, Happy Global Recession Day. Now is a great time to invest in CSAs and local farm share programs.
I'm investing in Melania coin and Trump coin.
Jessica Hinkle says, Greg, you and Jen forever impress the hell out of me with how you care for the Kinda Funny fam, your own fam, and all of us out here. Inspires me to do more every day. Be a good continue to be a good person, Jessica. I already know you are. Stephen Knight says, when the Nintendo released the Switch, the price point was justified. For outdated tech, $450 is absolutely insane, and $80 for a game on that tech is nasty.
When are we going to get the KF coin rug pull? God, that would be so genius.
Final one comes from Eric Myers. While everything sucks, at least we still have Andy. Happy Andyversary, everyone.
Hey, thank you. That's very nice of you. The KF coin rug pull was the Tim Geddes farewell tour T-shirt.
Ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, that's another episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily in the bank, but your programming day is just getting started. As I said, you're about to get our South of Midnight review as a Kinda Funny Gamescast. If you're not watching live, check it out on the Gamescast podcast feed, or of course, youtube.com/kindafunnygames. If you are watching live, Twitch, you don't have to go anywhere. Maybe you could use this time to link your Amazon Prime and give us your free Twitch Prime sub that doesn't renew every 30 days. Of course, if you're on YouTube, there'll be a new link. After that, it's going to be a Kinda Funny podcast live for your amusement. Then, some streaming of that Pokemon Nuzlocke. For now, though, a round of applause for Andy's anniversary. A round of applause for the Nintendo Switch. And a round of applause for me, who has 3 new stars.
Wow. I don't think
Just saying. Just thank you. Until next time, everybody. It's been our pleasure to serve you.